Ziegler, the Alpha Dawg, and this is the Dawg Pound.
Getting too old for this shit.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
I've always been threatening to get some.
You finally got a walk-on song. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, so there's no swearing allowed.
Who made that for you?
one of the guys that listens to the show, I'll tell you, Bobbie Moody made that for me.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Bobbie Moody. That was fantastic.
He said, Ziegler, you're always looking for some walk-on music. Here, try this. Okay. I don't know if that's totally in great taste, but what?
It's your show. You can do what you want. Within reason.
Pound. Today, I've got some of my dearest and best friends in the industry on today. And look who made it. Hello.
Hey, everyone.
Okay.
And Bobbie just popped on. There's Bobbie.
My best and dearest friends in the industry on today. The first guest panelist on today, it goes back 36 years.
Wow.
A man who was the past president of the National Dealer Council of General Motors. I mean, one of the biggest dealers in the state of Missouri. My friend, Lynn Thompson. Hello, big guy.
Good afternoon, sir.
Lynn, how's everything at Thompson Motor Sales?
Well, things are interesting. We have a large number of our inventory is probably as high as it's been in 6 months. We have 26 cars in inventory right now. So that's pretty good for us. We've been selling averaging about 100 a month. Finally, when they come in, they go straight out. We've got 266 sold units on order right now, of which 44 of them are Lyrics and 78 are Hummers. But we still have 64 GMCs sold in the system, 23 not picked up yet in the system, 20 Cadillacs in the system, 35 not picked up, of which 30 are Escalades. And we only sell cars. We are part of the 18%, Jim, nothing over MSRP.
Nice.
And we also have a rule that if you're more than 50 miles from us, we tell you to go to your local dealer. And people
do what? Wait a second.
Yeah.
If a prospective customer walks in and plunks the money down, I want to buy it. If they're more than 50 miles away, they're not in your local area, you're telling them to go back to their local dealer.
We tell them to go to their local dealer because we can't get the cars to take care of our own customers and people that live in the Springfield area. And we aren't asking $20,000 over invoice on these cars. So I think in a couple, 3 years, this might be a problem for some dealers who have been feeding at the trough.
You know, back in the day, you were selling 400 units a month, and now you're down to 100.
Well, new, yeah, we're doing about 200 total, 100 new, 100 used, and
Fantastic.
It's just things you have no control over. You no use worrying about it because it ain't going to help nothing.
And now, one of my other best friends in the industry, a man who is now a published author. Get this. Charles Cannon, big shot, wrote a book.
Hey, Jim, how's it going, man? Yeah.
The Rules of the Game by Charles Cannon. Look it up.
Congratulations.
On Amazon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And
yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway, general manager of Lexus of Serramonte, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, I've been doing it since November. The book started off as just ideas. It's July marked 20 years in the business, so I wanted to kind of talk about my experience, the ups and downs, and what it took to get here. So, and
It's
result
all
was the
about
book.
your climb, your struggle, your triumphs, all the way to from walking in the door, salesman to general manager.
That's right.
I have actually read the book cover to cover, and I get a lot of books from a lot of people, and glad to have you aboard. Charles and I go back to the battle plan conferences. Oh, hey, look, there's another one of our special people on the panel. One of the most brilliant people in the car business, Jennifer Briggs. Hey, kid.
Hey, Jim. How are you doing today?
Having a wonderful time. What's going on in your world?
You know, just I'm honestly working right now. I'm kicking off a vehicle buying center for one of my stores. So been immersed in that today, which is fantastic. Like Lynn was saying, right? New is very restricted and trying to get ahead as used is coming up and the water is rising on some of this inventory. So yeah, that's what I'm up to today. I've been doing that forever since I came out of accounting, but we bought cars off of photocopies of ROs. So this is a lot easier launching technology to do it. So
You're dating yourself, kid. And
hey, I'm at 20 years myself too. So
okay.
September.
Oh, your hair's still bright red, so what the heck?
Yeah, I got that.
And the man from for all seasons, the man from broadcasting from Spain, Max, get yourself in focus there. You're coming in and out of focus.
I mean,
on the
listen, it
camera.
shows, Jim, it shows commitment. Now I'm broadcasting from another continent.
You're in Spain.
And listen, I gotta
He's in a whole other country.
Right. I gotta say, like, I am a published author 4 times.
Oh, nice.
And on top of it, believe it or not, I'm teaching a class at Great New York Association 16 on F&I compliance. Awesome.
Oh yeah, unbelievable! And another one of I got some most brilliant women on the show today. The queen of BDC. You have a business development center in your dealership, and you want to really tune it up, high performance. Bees Knees Agency,
Thank
Bobbie
you.
Herron. Hey, kid.
Hey, you. Thank you. That was an outstanding intro. I appreciate that.
And what's going on with your world?
So yesterday and today, I am working on taking a giant group's CRM from a basic bitch to an outstanding assistant to the entire team. That's what I'm doing this week.
And I'm one of our new guests. Pronounce your last name. Machine?
Machine.
Machine. I love it. He
Done.
misspells machine. John Paul Machine from Black Book. What do you do at Black Book, Paul?
So I'm their director of their U.S. and international accounts, strategic accounts. My area of expertise is automotive dealer groups as well as SaaS startups, helping them figure out ways to take data and be creative about entering into a crowded market space and get a footprint and then grow from there. It's been very exciting to help these businesses scale and grow, over the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
What's the future look like right now in the used car world?
Well, for us, I believe it's going to be robust. We are, we're finishing our 3rd year. We're halfway through our 3rd year, and we're not producing enough pre-owned inventory for the 0 to 3-year-old vehicles to start in 2024, right? So 2024, you're buying a 3-year-old car that was sold in 2020, 2021, and those were not robust years. And we've already done a really good job of poaching from those year categories, and now we're doing a really good job of poaching from the 4+ older vehicles. So I believe for us, the used vehicle market is going to be quite robust. I think demand will get stronger. We got to remember there's 330 million plus vehicles in operation on the road today, and the average age is 12 years of age.
Wait a minute, how many vehicles on the road?
330 million vehicles in operation on the road today.
Time for cash flow clunkers again.
Lynn, are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Is that in the U.S.? 330.
330 million cars on the road today.
Right. And that's from the U.S. Department of Transportation. You know, they keep track of all the registrations. They got to keep tax of their tax receipts if they got them. So, and the average age.
Well, now they do.
Can I get that list?
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's 6 years of age is the average age. I'm sorry, 12 and a half is the average age. So I'm excited about the prospect of what's happening in the future. I think when Jennifer, you talked about the buying center, that's been I've been beating that stick since the very beginning, since I first joined Black Book. You know, I would tell dealers, look, you're the toy maker, you're building the site. I'm the battery that powers the site. That's how the data works.
Well, let me ask you, how many licensed drivers are there in the U.S. right now? Do you have that figure on the top of your head?
No, sir. I'm sure there's not.
Well, I do. It's just over 200. It's just over 210 million.
Right.
Yeah. So when you look at how many licensed drivers, and we've been cramming how many cars? 70 million cars in new and used.
Yeah.
We're going to reach saturation. You know, where everybody wants one.
I've got 4 registered to me. So
I've got 3. I have 3. Right.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, I titled this broadcast Jaws 2, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water. Here comes the manufacturer with some new restriction. Now I'm hearing, I think it was General Motors. Lynn, correct me on this, that if you flip a car in the first year, your warranty is void. If you resell a car that you bought, say you bought a Cadillac Escalade or a Lyric, and you sold it in the first year, they void your warranty.
I know that on the Corvette. I was told that about a Corvette that I had ordered.
You were told,
Yeah.
and
They're going to cancel the warranty.
yeah, they're going to cancel the warranty if a customer sells their car in the first year.
If they have particular cars that they are going to put that parameter on that are hot seller cars, Corvettes, Escalades. But I don't think they've got it finalized what the list is yet.
What's
I'm
going to
trying
happen to
figure
the
out
poor?
who's buying a
what's
car
gonna
cheap enough
happen-
that they're reselling it for a flip right now? Where
What's
are
going
they
to
gonna use
happen to the
this?
poor customer that bought the car that was flipped, and all of a sudden they found out they bought a car with no warranty?
That customer, Jim, is going to file a class action lawsuit, and that customer is going to win.
I agree with Matt.
I mean, can I
Well,
certify
I mean,
it?
it
Is it
depends on
technically
the
considered
paperwork
used at that
now.
point? So
Closed. And if they offer the purchase of an additional service contract to cover it, I mean, I was unaware they were going to do that on certain models, so I've not been able to research to talk about it. But if the selling person is disclosing it properly, I'm not sure how there could be a class action lawsuit.
well, you know
Well,
what I'll tell you. I
what
better
would
see
happen-
finance numbers going up for warranty. I better see penetration increasing big time on new cars.
Jump in there, Charles.
So the question I have is, what happens with individual sellers? If an individual sells to another individual, what happens there?
Same thing.
There's
Same
a lot of
thing.
assumptions.
Absolutely. And
Right. This is
I think you're aiming because all of a sudden a lot of brokers have showed up. I had a dealer I spoke to last week, and the dealer told me that he had an ordered car, and the customer had ordered the car, and the customer told him, hold the car for 10 days. I think this car was maybe a Ford Lightning. And the Ford Lightning was coming in, or it was one of those rare EVs. He said, hold it for 10 days because I want to see what the highest offer I get to resell it is.
Oh my God.
So,
Yeah, if I was that dealer, I'd be like, I want to see it too.
well, the dealer told me that the dealer told me
No doubt,
the
right?
dealer told me that they canceled that guy. They wouldn't sell him the car. When he told him he was taking bids to resell it.
Well, they're going to have a letter that you have to sign as the buyer stating what the parameters are on that. And I don't know, I'm not an attorney. I know some, but I think it's quite a jumbled up deal right now. I'm not saying that they're wrong or they're right, but I did mediations for General Motors starting in '92 and did quite a few of them and some high volume ones. Their feeling is that you should know everybody you sell a car to, who they are, where they're from, what they do, and what they're going to do with everything. I mean, that was GM's feeling during the mediation.
Charles, what's happening with Lexus? What unusual things are we seeing post-pandemic?
Well, you know, with Lexus, we've actually been fortunate. We have a decent amount of vehicles that are coming in. I have a long pipeline and list of at least 80% of them already pre-sold before they come in.
Nice.
Here on the West Coast, the big thing is hybrids. So any hybrid basically is selling, and they're selling quick. Especially when gas prices a couple months ago were, you know, $6 to $7 a gallon. Hybrids shot through the roof. You know, the markups out here, especially if you're buying a LX600. I mean, people are literally price gouging. They're charging $100,000 over, and we don't participate.
Wait, Charles, $100,000 over for a Lexus hybrid?
Verified. No, a Lexus LX600, the new big SUV. Verified $100,000 over. Somebody paid $100,000 over, and I'm sure this person was exporting it, so they didn't care. But still, some dealers are taking advantage of it. I just say, you know, short term, yeah, you're making all the gross, but long term, it just hurts the business, and it punishes all of us that are doing the right thing, because then customers are going to that model of, well, we don't need dealers because dealers just take advantage of the market and all that stuff, and they don't, you know, it's just short term thinking. So, you know, I make sure we don't participate in that as much as possible, and you know, we just try to do business the right way.
So I know, if I may, Jim.
Yeah.
Charles,
Jump right in, Paul. That's
dealers,
the format.
How the discipline to resist, not to jump into that into that space, to just get what you can get while you can get it. Can you talk a little bit about that discipline?
Yeah, you know, you have to think long term. You know, that's what I tell managers. I tell my salespeople. I say, you know, yeah, you can take advantage of the quote unquote take advantage of the customer now, but you know what happens 3 or 4 or 5 years from now when they come back trading that car and they're buried, and you did it to them, and they're gonna be mad at you, and it'd be your responsibility to try to get them out of it, and then leave a bad taste in their mouth, and it creates this cycle. And so I have to tell my guys, you know, you make a little bit now, long term, you'll be that one dealer that stands out that, you know, you didn't price gouge. And I'm sure, you know, Lynn's dealing with the positive effects of that, and it helps everybody long term. But here's the other challenge you have, is that you have to remain profitable. If you're used to selling 400 cars and all of a sudden you're selling 50 cars, I understand why some dealers are doing it, because they have to get to the bottom line. If they don't, then, you know, guess what? People get cut. So
Charles, it's also the manufacturer's fault, and not so much with Lexus. What is the gross margin on a Lexus? Just your run of the mill Lexus, 25, 3,000, 4,000.
Yeah, you know, it'd be something like that. Yeah, that's a good safe.
Okay, so you got $3,000-4,000 at MSRP. Now, on the other hand, now you're looking at General Motors has got some cars that have $150 markup. Help me with that, Lynn.
So, but I have to jump in to 2 points here. What Charles had just said should not be a new thing for you, not you, Charles, to be training your sales teams. I have been training my teams. I'm not the smartest person, but I have an accounting degree and a finance degree. So when somebody tells me the one-time gross of a customer versus the lifetime value of a customer that you take great care of, doesn't take a smart person to know that taking great care of your customer is more profitable in the long run. When an average is $2,500, the average lifetime value is $250,000. You do a great job and turn them into an advocate, they become worth $3 million to your dealership.
The lifetime value of a customer. That's Jay Abraham. I have studied Jay Abraham's marketing. The lifetime value of a customer versus the one-time sale.
I've been training my teams that for years, since I came into operations. So I don't think it's anything new. But to answer Paul's question about the discipline is not instantaneous. Discipline is a regimen, is a process, is making sure that you're setting your team up for success no matter what the market conditions are.
Right.
I'm really fired up. I got into it with somebody in a LinkedIn DM after last week's show about how the dealers are going to be in trouble once the OEMs open the spigots. And I'm like, if you're doing the right things right and taking care of your customers, it doesn't matter.
That's
And
correct.
if you're struggling for profit because you can't move new cars because you don't have them, man, you forgot the adaptability that we're supposed to have. And I don't know, when I learned the dealership from the financial statement forward, variable is not supposed to be where all your profit is.
Well, Jennifer, I'm going to tell you right now,
Right. Can I get an amen?
some dealers are getting a lot of
Take us to
inventory
church,
on.
Briggs.
Brett Sutherland, who's going to be on next week's show.
Yeah,
Brett Sutherland, who you
he-
know, owns
he got like 80
17
cars
stores.
in last
Most of the
month,
stores
right?
he owns are Nissan stores. And,
Yeah.
and he's going to be getting 125 units per location next week, hitting the ground. So there's some manufacturers that have already opened the spigot. Now, I know something for a fact that is going to really infuriate a lot of people, but I know that there are some manufacturers deliberately withholding produced inventory and creating an artificial shortage. I know that for a fact.
But we're
These
the
are
bad guys.
These are import dealers.
Yeah.
Some of the import dealers are leaving cars at the port on purpose, not delivering them to the dealers to create artificial demand and artificial urgency. I know that for a fact.
Well, it's
And,
important in any
Charles, you're
situation.
shaking your head. Do you also know
Yeah.
that?
I've heard that. Yes,
Yeah.
I've heard that rumor, and I don't doubt it.
I know it beyond a rumor. I've got some inside dealers that are right there that know for a fact that there are. Are you aware of that, Paul?
Yes, I actually reported on that last week. You know, there's tens of thousands of 2021s sitting in yards across the nation. Supposedly
2021s.
Yeah, supposedly without chips. And GM just announced that they've got 95,000 sitting waiting for components, for blaming it on the supply chain channel. And that was a question I had asked myself: is, you know, how much of that is really legitimate? You know, based on we have what's called a forced inflation because of the supply chain suppression.
The supply chain suppression. Everybody heard the terminology.
Mhm.
What is your function with Black Book, Paul? What do you do?
Oh, I do a lot. No, it's so.
I know you do.
I mainly engage with a lot of startups, dealer groups, all the SaaS partners. Like when you go to NADA and you walk around and you see a lot of the businesses there, they're using Black Book in their system somewhere, somehow. Most dealers are using Black Book within their family of solutions they're using. About 7 to 8 different locations within that vertical. My main role is I take this data that can be just complicated data when you just look at it on the surface, but I can help translate it to actionable insights and how a dealer group should look at it, how a SaaS partner should.
So your job is to interpret data and make it real for the common Smo on the street can understand.
Get us over the analysis paralysis is what I'm hearing.
Correct. Yeah, that's my tagline. Where data and common sense come together.
Well, let's go back to the question again,
We should
Paul.
be friends.
We know manufacturers are creating artificial shortages. Not all the manufacturers, I'm not going to name a specific one, but still in all, the manufacturers are leaving cars at the port. And it's not all chip shortage.
Well, a lot of it has to do with drivers as well. We have 80,000 fewer drivers available today than we did pre-pandemic. So there's a shortage.
Are you saying it's a legitimate excuse because they don't have drivers, or some of it's artificial?
Well, I participate in a logistics talk every Tuesday, and they are always frustrated at the short supply of really good drivers. And, you know, some of the delays is being able to pick up the vehicles from the ports because they just don't have the cars. I mean, the trucks, I should say.
Okay, now the other thing I'm hearing now, some of the manufacturers are starting to charge subscriptions for options.
Yep.
Who's doing that?
BMW announced that for heated seats.
Heated seats.
I love that option. I don't want to pay for heated seats
If
in the
you buy a
summer.
BMW and you live in
I'm in.
Minnesota, you're going to have a cold butt if you don't pay $17 a month.
General Motors is doing a charge on the Buicks and GMCs of $1,500 for their safety package of OnStar, directions, connections, everything like that. And it's good for 3 years, $1,500. It's on the option list, but if you order a Buick or a GMC, you cannot take it off the option list. It's mandatory, but it's on the option list.
They are forcing customers to buy OnStar.
Seems like a contradiction.
And OnStar has been
It is a contradiction.
You know, not a rocket scientist, but that just seems pretty basic there.
I mean, now
Like,
get
who's
this.
selling
In
their cars for
F&I, when you are doing F&I, you can't force a customer to buy a service contract. That is against federal law. The Federal Trade Commission will crawl down your throat.
Right.
Yeah, you're not allowed to require that anybody buys a service contract. But General Motors is requiring that you buy OnStar, which they've had difficulty selling OnStar. There are very few renewals of OnStar. A lot of people sell it on the initial sale.
Well, yeah,
nobody renews OnStar.
To it.
You know, figuratively. I mean, it's a low value option right now with the fact that we got cell phones and old ladies have a little button.
Right.
I'm falling, I can't get up. They got all that. You know.
It's a safety package that they're putting on. I believe somebody at General Motors said that they will pull in $30 billion worth of subscriptions eventually. And I don't know how that works. I'm just down here in the country. So, but
now, Lynn, does that include like the lane departure warnings? I mean, I know you have a Cadillac store, and my first store was Cadillac. So all the bells and whistles for the safety features.
Right now, it's just Buick and GMC on the $1,500 for 3 years, and you get it. Now it's listed as an option,
but
you can't take it off. It's on the window sticker, the Moroni sticker, as an option.
Wow.
To me, that is absolutely despicable. I'm sorry. You know,
that's the good thing.
I gotta say,
stop messing with us.
That's like forcing a customer to buy a service contract whether they want it or not. You know,
I don't have we're selling a lot of 23s, and there's some people asking questions about it. And right now, the only thing we can tell them is it's a required option.
That's such an oxymoronic statement, but required.
That's like all of a sudden BMW has introduced subscription heated seats. So when they start doing subscriptions for various options and features on the car, now the feature is already installed on the car. The heated seats are in the car already.
Right.
But they won't turn it on unless you pay $17 a month. So
is it a 12-month agreement, or can I have it just for the winter?
So that's what I'm saying. I'm down to pay for the subscription service. I think in my Enclave, my heated seat option, which is one of my favorite things, was like $2,000 or something. I'm down for $17.99.
$17 a month?
Yeah, I'm down to pay that over the course of the time.
You got to remember,
you already paid for it in the car. Yeah. It's already in the car, but you got to pay $17 a month to have to
activate it.
Well, one of the main reasons is the complexity of the chips that are being put into the vehicles today. Like the Porsche Taycan has 8,000 microchips all throughout the vehicle, and they can control all these various features and options. The average vehicle now is short of I think it's 900 chips in the average car on the road.
How many?
The last 5 years, and they're all interconnected some way somehow and need software updates. So but
it's insane because we live in a country where we can clone a goat. So I'm not buying this bullshit about how we have a chip shortage and we can't do anything about it. It doesn't even make sense. It's ridiculous. We can clone a goat. Last week, there was a medical release last week a huge study that happened.
Am I
This
looking up
major
a
like
pineapple on YouTube?
scientific marvel that happened last week where they were able to bring, I think it was a pig, don't quote me on that, back to life in the effort to revive organs for transplant. But we can't cure a chip shortage. I call bullshit all day.
Well, I think what Paul
I'm buying
meant
it.
was now the subscription is to cover the software updates. Like, remember when your GPS had discs
Right.
and you had to re-up to get the updates?
Yeah, you had to like
Now
go to the
we have
dealership,
a
do the whole
modern
thing.
version. I mean, I never bought the discs, but
Yep.
I don't
Yeah,
know
Max
who's using
back.
GPS in their car anyways. Like, come on.
maybe
Waze,
that's why
people.
they're starting
Waze.
to charge for this stuff, B.
No, that's why.
Okay, so-
I mean, they're starting to charge for it because we all know that Basic Fundamentals says that subscription services are one of the top tier things for increasing profit and are the least canceled items that people actually
Right.
want to get rid
The
of. It's
slippage.
well known. It's the slippage. So it's kind of genius on their part. Do I think it's awesome for us? Like, no, but
Yeah,
if
but
I am
then
down
the
to pay it.
customers are going to think we're the ones who are lying to them. Like,
Well, of
like
course
Lynn
they
just
are.
said, it's optional but required. And who are they going to think? Like, I think it's just going to erode the trust between
Like
us
Lynn
and-
said earlier, they're getting
Agreed.
some conversation about it. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
I think the
Lynn, you're
future's
getting
gonna
some
be more
conversation
hybrid
about it,
than
aren't you?
Want.
Jim, I heard somebody's going to charge $18 a month to use their fob.
Key fob. Oh, I read that last
Wow.
week. You're right.
Wow.
A remote start key fob. That and the article said it was for mainly for the security to keep up the anti-hacking software in the key fob.
Yeah, but is there a lot of
Unbelievable.
truth to that? Like, people can say anything they want. That doesn't make it real.
Hang on, wait. This might be an off the record question, Paul. So if you can't answer it, that's fine. Because you said you work with a lot of SaaS and startup companies. So you understand the hard cost in a lot of this software updates. BS or legitimate expense?
A developer is super expensive, and it's no secret to the pandemic. The best developers were also being poached, aggressively being searched out by HR people to work for other technology companies. And so to keep them, you gotta pay them more money to keep you. Yeah. That iPhone has done really well, except for money for the developers. That's really where the majority of the process is keeping good people employed.
So a legitimate expense.
Well, also, real quick, guys, like, I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
with
that
developers.
BMW subscription service is different than that. I thought it was if you didn't buy heated seats, you could choose to subscribe to the option. That you could still do it the standard way. In Britain, it was, or the British thing that rolled out said you could have heated seats in the car and buy it as an overall, or if you did not pay for the option, you would have the choice to do a subscription service.
Well, they're not
Correct me
going
if
to
I'm wrong, but I think so.
cars for free. They lose all the hard cost on them that way. That doesn't make sense.
Well,
No,
I can
like,
verify
that's the
that
release. That's what they said.
they've had the subscription type service for a while. So my wife, I bought her an X7 2 years ago, and they have the option for the drive recorder. It's already in the car. You just pay the subscription. I think, I don't know, $100 a year or something like that, and the recorder records you're driving. If there's an accident, what have you, it'll record what happens a few seconds before and after. So they've had this for a while. They just been experimenting, and you know, if you look at a model, look at Tesla for their autopilot feature, and I know this because I got sued for this when I first started there. This Tesla for their autopilot, it's like 12 grand. So you buy the car with the software on it, but if you want to pay for it, it's an extra 12 grand, and they've been doing that for years. And we sold a car that was supposed to have it, and it said it did, and it didn't. So I got sued for it and what have you. But Tesla's been doing it, and I think these other manufacturers watch what Tesla's doing, and they're saying, okay, well, if Tesla customers are willing to pay $12,000 for the autopilot feature, which $18 a month for a key or auto for a drive recorder or heated seats, you know, there's a market for that type of stuff.
I'm not
but
market for that.
everybody's a Tesla buyer.
But I'm not market for a subscription service.
I agree.
Like, it's a $2,000 option to have the heated seats added to the car that I have, but I own a car for typically 3 to 5 years, and I only need heated seats and heated steering wheel for 4 months out of those years. That's a no-brainer for me.
Well, if you can only subscribe for 4 months. Now,
Correct. Well,
Correct.
even if
here's
yeah,
the other.
correct.
Here's the other thing. Recently, the U.S. government put a $7,500 tax break for certain EVs. Is that true, Charles?
That is true. It affects, I believe it's batteries that are vehicles of batteries that are made in North America. So it hurts brands like Toyota, I believe Hyundai, a lot of these other manufacturers that don't build cars here, that credit goes away. So it puts them at a competitive
Only
disadvantage.
cars where the batteries are built in North America.
Including Canada,
And
Mexico.
notice it was North America because General Motors and Ford built a lot of their cars in Mexico. So they sort of made the law North America. So did you get that, Paul?
Jim,
So
I
they
read.
made-
Yes.
Jim, I read that 70% of the car EVs built will not qualify for the $7,500.
I read
Is that
that
the
as
reason why
well.
they removed the ceiling?
75% will not qualify. And get this, as soon as they put that $7,500 tax credit, most of the manufacturers raised their prices $7,500.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, hey FTC,
Did everybody-
stop
did
jacking
everybody
with
see
us and go
that?
talk to the OEM.
Yeah, don't watch what we're doing over here. Look at these little guys. Look at these family-run businesses.
This is why we have to get better with lobbyists. We have to get better in our dealers associations about being on top of stuff. That's
Well,
the
you
truth
know,
of the matter.
we all, everybody's all indignant about the dealers are charging consumers $20,000 over sticker. They're charging consumers $5,000 over sticker. But as soon as the manufacturers saw that the customers would pay it, they every one of them raised their sticker price. I see Dodge Ram has had 2 price increases. I mean, look at the manufacturers are scooping up that additional profit they saw the dealers marking up the cars, but by the same token, they're vilifying the dealers that did it.
I know. I'm sitting here gritting my teeth because in the early days, one of my Ford stores had their order portal suspended for selling, and not a lot over MSRP, just being competitive in the local market. And our order portal was suspended for doing it. And now look at what Ford is doing.
When I started doing business with Lynn Thompson 36 years ago, he came to a 20 group with his brother George, and him and George and Uncle Milt were running the show at the time. And I said, you could sell a car for full list in their 20 group. I said, I can get you to where you will sell at least half of the cars you sell at MSRP. And Lynn said, that is not possible. We're a General Motors store. We're the biggest GMC truck dealer in the state of Missouri. You can't do that. Tell the story, Lynn.
Well, we just walked out and said, you're crazy as a June bug, and said there's no way we can do it. And we had you come up and you showed us how to do it. And that's when Smart Buy was big, and we were the #1 dealer in the South Central region on Smart Buy. And you showed us that we were wrong and you were right, I got to admit.
And we sold a lot of cars. And see, that's the thing. The consumers would always pay full sticker. There's never been a problem selling cars at full sticker if full sticker is reasonable. And that's the thing. Now that the manufacturers have found out, damn, people will pay full sticker. Now they're artificially withholding inventory. They're doing all sorts of tricks to keep it at that rate. But now on a brand new Bronco or some of the Ford products, the MSRP and the invoice are the same amount.
Charles, let me ask you a question. You seem to be up on things. What is the average profit for a manufacturer on a pickup truck today?
I don't know. That's a good question. I assume it wouldn't be that much right now. Between markup and
$18,000.
$18,000.
Wow.
Does anybody else, have they heard that too?
I've heard that several times.
Wow.
I had
actually, the figure is in 2016, The last time figures were statistics were readily available. It's really hard to nail down the manufacturers. I'm going to talk about Silverado, Ram, and F-150. The last time, 2016, that the figures were readily available, they were making $13,000 per unit. That's the manufacturer's profit on the unit after all costs. They were making about $13,000. Recently, and Lynn's right, we have been able to quantify once again the profitability, and it's 17.6.
Wow.
So they're from 2016 to now, they're making $17,600 average, the big three, on their pickup truck sales.
Is that after retro?
Wow.
You know, where
Yes.
Lynn and Charles and Jennifer get their retro money. That's after netro.
It's net gross.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It
And-
has been that's been so frustrating for me over the years. And again, for anybody who's watching, I spent the first half of my about to be 20 years in the accounting office. And so being the person to punch all those things in and seeing the difference between our cost and what that could be, the diminishing margin where the OEM is just moving up how much they're keeping, moving up and taking away our profits. But again, really, like I said earlier, variable's not supposed to pay your bills. It's okay. But it's infuriating that in that where they have constricted the dealers, and they, even if they don't think it, they need us. Constricting the profitability of an operation that your business model is dependent upon is going to bite them in. And I won't curse on the show. So I'm just
Okay.
Wait. We're allowed to curse on the show, but not the F word because he
Okay.
introed.
I don't want to hear
No,
that.
I don't
Okay.
curse in
Yeah.
But look, here's
Pineapple,
the thing,
move on. Paul.
Pineapple.
Just call a pineapple
Yeah.
on me? That doesn't
Yeah.
That's insane.
Hey, Paul,
Good job, you.
Hey, Paul. What statistics have you got that we need to discuss? What revelation can you bring to this show?
Well, from a national perspective, I think
Yeah.
the used vehicle retail listings is still about 99 to 98% of the asking price as we entered into the new year. And I always have to remind everyone, we started January 2022 with a 136% increase in retail asking price over January 2021. So we're still at 98, 99% of that asking price, in spite of, all the bad news that's all around us, right? And I hear what Jennifer's done in sales, Lynn, Charles, and just about every dealer I talk to, they're selling out as quickly as they can get the cars, as long as they're good quality cars. That tells me that I believe that what we're at is maximum pricing tolerance for the consumer. No one's really tried to test the used vehicle market. Thank God they're not. I think that if they went higher, we might create what's called demand destruction, which means we have consumers who will no longer want to buy that pre-owned car. What we are seeing is that the prime $10,000 to $15,000 units that we used to be able to pick up that were 1 to 3 years of age, we're now having to get that $10,000 to $15,000 unit 4, 5, and 6 years of age in order to stay priced at that price point to satisfy the consumer. So we're seeing lenders creating some more flexible programming around allowing financing those 4, 5, and 6-year-old vehicles.
Okay, 5, 6-year-old vehicles are now prime merchandise.
Well, look at right, Honda True, Ford Blue. The OEMs are even extending their CPO programs to accommodate for that.
Yeah.
Lynn, CPO, how far back are they extending that for you right now?
I'm sorry.
Your certified pre-owned CPOs. How many years back are they extending that right now?
How far are they extending?
Right. Yeah.
Or are you
How
supposed to do
old
it
can a
7?
CPO unit be?
I'm having trouble hearing you here. I think you said the fee on it.
Yeah.
The age. How long?
How old? How old? How many
5
years?
years.
5 years. Okay. So they started out when I first heard of CPOs about 15 years ago. They were like 3 years. Is that what you're saying, John? Paul?
Yeah. Not just the CPO, but the lenders too. Lenders are looking at ways to be much more creative to extend longer term financing with the right credit for the 4, 5, and 6-year-old inventory. Because that
I have always told dealers, you know, a car is sold 4 to 5 times in this lifetime. Think about this. From the brand new car to the last time that car is sold before it hits the junkyard. 5 times. The person that sold it the 5th time made more money than the first 4 put together.
If they did it right.
The car that they sold that was almost ready for the junkyard made more than the new car when the new car dealer sold it.
That's right.
Of course.
Think about that. And I'm telling dealers, don't be too quick to wholesale off those units. I every time I consulted a dealer. Now, when I worked with Lynn Thompson, 36 years, I consulted his dealership for many years, and it wasn't just sales training; it was consulting. And when I would go into Lynn, I said, "Lynn, this is the best practice. And Lynn and I and his brother would huddle up, and we would brainstorm some stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, one thing I've always told dealers when I consulted a dealer was, don't wholesale off those units so quick. Have what I call back fence cars, back fence retail, cars that you don't put on the front line, cars you don't put up front, but you've got that 6-year-old car that the wholesaler is going to make $6,000 on, and you wholesaled it away. What do you think?
You know, Jim, that was a key part of our strategy at Feldman when they had brought me in to double their unit volumes.
Is this Feldman?
We actually took we actually took, because it was hard to sell Hyundais in Detroit, you know. So we took one of our Hyundai stores and turned that into, we did a wholesale to the public a lot. And the other stores would ship it there. I didn't have to pay those techs as much to do the work on those cars to make sure that they were road safe. But it was a huge part of our strategy. I remember somebody saying, how are you moving 84 units out of a Hyundai store in Waterford, Michigan? And I was like, well, only 13 are Hyundais, to be fair.
How far back are you keeping used inventory, Charles?
You know, we changed our strategy, you know, because with inventory being so light, we're keeping those what we call C cars internally, cars that we normally would wholesale.
There you go.
Where we've been looking at them a little bit more closely and saying, okay, in the past I would send them to auction, but now we'll keep them, and customers are buying them because, you know, where are you going to find a sub $10,000 car that's in decent shape? You can't find them right now. They basically don't exist. So if you, I mean,
about the condition of that vehicle.
Absolutely. We are. And we tell people, we make sure it's safe, obviously, to be on the road. But, you know, we tell people, hey, there's some stuff down the line that's deferred that, you know, but I'm saving you a few $1,000s by going this route. So then they know up front there's no surprises. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, we're able to deal with the situation.
Jim?
Quick adaptability.
Quick tip for any dealers to ensure that you can retain as much profit in that model as possible. And we did this when I used to compete against Bobbie way back in the day. Create your own offsite service center, even if it's 1 rack, 2 racks. That way you're not paying your franchise tax to service those types of vehicles. Now, granted, I mean, a lot of people don't have any hours to sell in the lane right now anyways in their franchise stores. So if you have space, why not? We had every single one of our budget cars back in the day at McDonald's went through our offsite, was just down the road. We bought an old, you know, broke down distribution center warehouse, threw some racks, had 3 techs, put them up in there. We actually used it to start training techs up to promote into our franchise stores. It was a great way to retain employees and profitability.
Lynn Thompson, you tried to get something in there a minute ago. Then jump in there.
We started what we call our bargain barn 36 years ago, and we're still using it today.
Well, wait a minute. Who was involved in helping you make that decision 36 years ago?
I can't remember who it was, but it had to be me.
The bargain barn. Wasn't that you and me and George in a closed session?
Well, surely it wasn't George or Milt. I guess it had to be you or me, and I'll vote on me. But you might have come up with it. I don't know. But we're still using it today, and we still sell. But the problem is today, run the cars through the shop, make sure they are safe to get on the road, and we sell them with a 3-month, 3,000-mile warranty, and from there on they're as is, and just part of it. But we still sell quite a few of them if we can get them.
Is it an
You can
actual
get 'em.
barn, Lynn? Is what I want to know.
Is it what?
An actual barn.
It's an actual barn.
Is it? No, you're laughing. I've been thinking about this. I'm like, why don't I just build a pole barn on my acreage?
She has been thinking about
I
this.
have been.
Is it actually a barn, Lynn?
Well, actually, it's just a sign that says bargain barn, and we park them in front of it. It's at the back of our lot. Then we have our used cars. And then we have our new cars. Now, we're a little shy right now. We used to carry 250 new cars, 250 used. Right now, I have 21 new cars on my lot, which is the most I've had in 6 months. And we're still been selling 100 new a month by just cars we're getting. All our cars we're getting in are sold.
That's awesome, though. That's awesome.
And it's just the bargain barn. If we can get them and they go through our service department and they're drivable, and if they're fixable without $7,000 or $8,000 putting into them, we'll put them on the bargain barn. And in the old days, the bargain barn was 5,000 to 10,000. Now it's 15,000 to 20. I mean, it's the way it is.
That's
but-
what Charles said a minute ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And we still sell them, and they're ready to go. But it's changed. The price has changed on them, no doubt about it.
Paul Machine, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
I've got a theory, and I want to run this theory. Everybody's saying, hey, we're going to really crash. Used cars are going to really piss off the customers because the prices are going to be so high, people are going to be buried. How many cars are we going to sell this year? New cars. How many new 2022s are going to be put across?
We're depending on the analyst you talk to, the SAR rate is between 13 and 14 million. I'm
okay, as opposed to 17 million at the height.
Correct. I'm leaning.
So we're $4 million off, 4
Right.
million units off. Okay,
I think we'll be
so
closer to
there's going to be a
13 million.
shortage of used cars 3 years from now, correct?
Right. That's
So
right.
the shortage of used cars is going to still jack up the values like the values are today. So the people were laying away today with 4,000 over sticker, 5,000 over sticker. Those used cars are going to be so scarce. They're also going to bring $3,000-$4,000 over what they would ordinarily bring. Is that true?
Based on the indicators in the last 3 years, yes.
So they're not going to be buried. They're not going to be pissed off because their car is going to have a high value because there's so few new cars being sold right now. So there's nothing in the pipeline to make used cars in the future.
Yeah, I have one of my blogs. I showed 20 years of new vehicle sales. I call that the used car factory. And I did that parallel to the used vehicle volume. But every year that we were between 17 and 18 million new car sales, the following year or the following years was 39 to 41 million used vehicle sales. And I go back to there's 330 million vehicles in operation. Average age is 12 years of age, and they need to be cycled out. And if we develop smart processes to not, instead of waiting for those vehicles to hit the lane or to come to the front door, we need to be going after it. But Jennifer's setting up a We Buy Cars portal. You know, that's one of the things that I've been hammering since day one. You need to be able to buy cars creatively directly from John Q. Public. I call it the driveway buy.
I've been promoting the driveway buy for 36 years, as some
Absolutely.
witnesses on this broadcast can tell you.
Yep.
I have been teaching prospecting out of the public, buying their cars for years.
I got it from you. When I first started in the
But
business,
it
I
just
went to one of your courses.
You were in my course and you heard
Yep.
me teaching people how to buy cars from the John Q. Public.
That's
And
right.
I've been teaching that as a primary prospecting method for years, as you and Lynn can attest.
Mhm.
And now all of a sudden people are learning how to sell cars out of the service drive, how to sell cars in the supermarket parking lot. When I
It's
was
crazy,
dating my
Jim.
wife would hate it. I'd walk across a parking lot and I'd say, excuse me, sir. And my wife and I are shopping groceries. I'd say, excuse me, sir, would you sell me this car? You know, I have a market for this car. I'll pay top dollar for this car. I will pay stupid money if you'll sell me this car. And the customer will look at me like, huh?
Yep.
Guy in a pickup truck.
I love whipping out my appraisal app at the gas station or at a ball game.
Exactly.
But here's the other tip. So the first dealer group I ever worked for, they had a program. Any employee could snap a picture of a car on the side of the road. You sent the information to the buyer. If he bought the car, you got $100 stiff. Like, and they're so nervous to do that, but they're going to pay the buyer's fees of $250, $500, whatever it is. But you're not going to give Shelly from accounting $100 for helping you buy that car off the street. That's not smart business.
Jennifer,
Right. We're not looking for Shelly to buy it. We're looking for Shelly to send the opportunity to the correct person to buy it. It's that simple.
That's right. On Friday,
Paul, when did you attend my first class with me?
91.
91. Where was that?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
That was the sales manager class, correct?
Yes, sir. You actually picked up the phone and called someone out of the blue from the classifieds, and you bought the car.
We did it out of the phone book.
Right.
Yeah.
Back when that was legal. I'm dating myself again, but like that was my first phone training. I sat down with Jerry Linsky from South Carolina. He had come all the way up to Saginaw, Michigan, and we sat and we freaking would make all the.
I haven't heard the name Jerry Linsky in years.
Me neither, but I mean, that's really where I think I have to give him credit. Like some of his scripting and tactics, although calling out of the phone book's not legal, but that's where I
want to go on record in this broadcast. I in no way endorse Jerry Linsky.
I don't even know if
calling out the phone book might not be legal. But
I am not endorsing Jerry
is.
Linsky. If you know Jerry Linsky and he owes you money, I have nothing to do with it.
I'm really quite surprised by how many people are not working marketplace
in 15 years. I would like to also.
I haven't heard his name in years, years and years and years. So anyway, right now, the manufacturers are banking on direct sales to the public. Is Lexus doing any of that, Charles?
No, Lexus is not. They've been committing to us that the dealers are their top priority, and they're not participating in that. I've been to numerous conferences, and they said they're not going that route.
Lexus, Toyota,
yeah.
Lexus and Toyota are not playing the game. They're not going the direct to the public. They are banking on their dealers. And I'm going to tell you what, I think now Ford has made the biggest commitment to selling direct, and General Motors is doing a little stealth, and Stellantis doesn't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, they are lost puppies. They are lost in the wilderness. But right now, General Motors and Ford, mostly Ford, are banking on direct to the public. And that's going to crash hard. And when it crashes hard, a lot of those F-150 buyers and a lot of those Silverado buyers are going to end up in Tundras. I'm telling you right now, whoever has inventory on the ground is going to sell cars.
I think
whoever's got cars on the ground.
Yeah, there'll be a tug of war between the dealers and the OEs on the right model. It'll end up being a hybrid model where consumer can order directly from the OE. It gets shipped to Lynn, Jennifer, or Charles' location. They go pick it up from over there, service, accessories, financing. But it's a complete cycle.
Whole demo program.
Right, and they're going to be doing. Mark my words, they're going to figure out a way to be in the middle of acquiring that first or second year model vehicle directly, buying it directly from the customer on a tier 1 site, and then reselling it as a certified pre-owned to a certified pre-owned qualified dealer.
So the manufacturer's Car Bravo.
Mm-hmm.
How about Car Bravo, Lynn? How's that working for you?
Not much yet. But we're involved in it, and but hasn't worked yet. But give it time and they need to do some marketing on it to get it out to the people.
Well, do you think it's going to work when they do?
Jim, I don't know. We like it and we are curious about it. And will it work? I guess we'll wait and see.
Lynn's right.
You know,
It needs to be marketed.
Fantastic.
You know,
no one thinks about
didn't
going to the
Ford do
OE
this?
Silicon.
Didn't Ford do this before with Blue Oval?
They sure did.
Didn't that crash like an
It
airplane?
crashed. Everything Ford's tried with the retail public crashed.
I like Lynn's,
Collection. I mean,
Lynn's hypothetical questions.
Yeah.
so anyway, this has been just a great broadcast. This has been very informational. What do you think, Jennifer?
I think it's a good thing I took my heart meds before the show because you got my blood pressure up.
Okay, Bobbie wants to subscribe to Heated Seats, keep her butt warm in Michigan.
Yeah, I'm
You
in.
just moved to Indiana. It's warmer here.
You could move to Michigan and we could share the service.
Paul Machine, Charles Cannon, and my good friend Lynn Thompson. I've got 3 people in the broadcast today who have all been to my seminars. I loaded the audience with people who are consulting clients and friends of mine. Everybody on this broadcast is a personal friend of mine. So I think it was a great broadcast. Thank you, Lynn Thompson, for all your friendship through the years. Charles Cannon, always. Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
The Rules of the Game by Charles Cannon. You can buy this on Amazon. Go to Amazon. Get off the computer right now. No, stay on the computer. Go to Amazon and buy Rules to the Game by Charles Cannon.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
Posse,
also-
please find the link and share it.
Wave
It's
goodbye to
available as well.
wave goodbye to
Thank
the
you.
audience. Everybody say